Continuing from last chapter, Xiao Yan begins to understand the secrets of the sealed steel. In the end, it's really you and your disciple who benefited. The old man, known as the Nine-Soul Stele, looked at the Golden Dragon King with a hint of reluctance in his voice. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but feel elated, his eyes fixed on the Nine-Soul Stele in front of him. Since this Nine-Soul Stele was responsible for suppressing the twin ghost emperors, it must also know the treasures hidden within. Heh. You've already gotten a great advantage here. Although the ghost emperor broke the seal, in a sense, you've regained your freedom, haven't you? Don't pretend to be all modest after gaining so much. The Golden Dragon King remarked sarcastically, showing no politeness. Golden Dragon King, your personality hasn't changed one bit. The Nine-Soul Stele chuckled, clearly unfazed by the Golden Dragon King's mocking tone. In front of Xiao Yan, as the steel shattered under the impact of the black river water from the Forbidden Water domain, the woman in white appeared, standing in midair. However, a vast amount of ghostly qi continued to seep from her body, slowly enveloping her figure. After Xiao Yan entered the sealed gate, Yu and Mu Feng stood silently outside, carefully watching their surroundings. On the one hand, they were on guard for any unusual changes to the sealed gate, and on the other, they were waiting for Xiao Yan's return. It's been a while. Why isn't he done yet? Yu paced back and forth anxiously, clearly worried about Xiao Yan's safety. Getting worked up like this won't help? Mu Feng tried to comfort her. But I'm sure that the gate is sealing a powerful ghostly entity inside. I'm worried about Xiao Yan. If I had known this, I wouldn't have let him go in. Yu muttered, clearly regretful. Mu Feng, is there any way you could use that technique again and send me in? Yu bit her lip, looking at Mu Feng with determination. That's impossible. Mu Feng shook his head. Not only did using that technique earlier drain my do qi considerably, but in this ghost-suppressing well, filled with ghostly qi and lacking any do qi, my energy has barely recovered. He explained. Even if I could use it again, I wouldn't let you go in. It's too dangerous inside. I doubt even Xiao Yan would want you to follow him. Did Xiao Yan tell you that? Yu asked in disbelief. Sort of. I promised him I wouldn't say anything, but here I am, spilling it out anyway, Mu Feng sighed. Xiao Yan. Yu's eyes narrowed slightly as she pondered silently. This ghost-suppressing well is truly sinister. Not even my do qi can recover here. I have to rely solely on pills. Mu Feng complained. After all, as a do di expert, he could continuously absorb do qi from the heavens and earth to replenish his strength. The way this well blocked his ability was like cutting off an arm. Yu hesitated for a moment, then fell silent. She pulled out her competition token, checking the remaining time. Only 5 days left. 5 days remaining. I remember Uncle Hu said that when there are 4 days left, the dark moon of the forest of EngSubs will rise. Mu Feng suddenly turned serious. Dark moon? Yu looked surprised. Clearly, it was the first time she had heard of it. However, what Mu Feng had said about the ghost-suppressing well already troubled her. Yes, the dark moon. Legend has it that strange phenomena occur in the forest of EngSubs. When we were in the first and second layers of the forest, you must have noticed the sky above. Mu Feng reminded her. The sky in the forest of EngSubs is always shrouded in ghostly qi, making it impossible to tell day from night. Yu suddenly recalled. Exactly. And the dark moon is a rare phenomenon where a moon appears in the forest of EngSubs. But this moon is different from a regular one. The dark moon is formed from the thick, ghostly qi in the forest. When it appears, all the ghostly creatures within the forest will grow stronger, Mu Feng said gravely. And our do qi will still be impossible to replenish using the energy in the forest, leaving us no choice but to rely on pills. Mu Feng added before Yu could even express her shock. This? Yu realized the severity of the dark moon's appearance, and her expression turned serious. Xiao Yan, you have to hurry, she whispered to herself, closing her eyes in silent prayer for his safety. There isn't much time left. This energy? In a dark cave, Mu Ying bit her lip and stared intensely into the distance. It's the twin ghost emperors, The heavenly fire sacred tiger exclaimed in shock. He recognized that terrifying ghostly chi all too well. He once ruled this region of the forest of EngSubs, but when the twin ghost emperors invaded, he was defeated. The twin ghost emperors were too powerful, and even now, the heavenly fire's sacred tiger still dreaded them. However, the twin ghost emperors were later separated and sealed by the strongest experts of the mystic three heavens. If not for that, the heavenly fire sacred tiger wouldn't be here today. The heavenly fire sacred tiger added with fear in his voice. Little ancestor, we need to leave now, he urged. I don't know who entered the gate sealing the twin ghost emperors, but it won't be long before they reappear in the forest of EngSubs. The tiger's fear was evident. Don't be afraid, big tiger. I'm here with you. Mu Ingying smiled softly as she gracefully picked up an item from the stone platform before her. It was a jade pendant, completely emerald green, though its mysterious nature was unclear. However, given that it was found deep within the ghost-suppressing well, it was certainly no ordinary object. Strange. The person who entered the sealed gate looks a lot like that guy named Xiao Yan. Mu Ingying bit her lip, puzzled. Odd. Why did my connection with the Mu family group suddenly cut off? That's impossible. We specifically set up a method to stay in touch? A plump man looked surprised. This man was none other than Luo Guang, the so-called indestructible fatty. Standing next to him was a woman. They were probably eliminated, the woman said casually. Those three brothers from the Mu family are quite formidable when they work together. Even I have to be cautious around them. How could they be eliminated so easily? Luo Guang shook his head, clearly sensing that things were more complicated than they seemed. Regardless, we should stay on guard. According to the information I received, the top 10 contenders have all entered the third layer of the forest of EngSubs, Luo Guang warned. I'm not interested in the other small fry. I'm here for Mu Ingying, and I claim first place for myself, the woman said nonchalantly. Damn it, the third layer of the forest of EngSubs is so strange. Qiu Huanyao muttered, clearly feeling the pressure of the place. Let's find Xiao Yan. If we take his points, we'll have a shot at the top 3. Qiu Huanyao urged as they made their way deeper into the third layer. Xiao Yan, huh? Why do you seem familiar? A beautiful woman murmured. Around her fingers, small, delicate snakes coiled, seemingly obedient. Master! The dark moon will rise tomorrow, the Silver Thunder Wolf King remarked to the handsome man before him. I know. Time flies, Song Lei. Another dark moon is upon us, the man said with a sigh. The last time the dark moon appeared, I was gravely wounded and nearly died. I was saved by an expert from the mystic three heavens. As repayment, I agreed to stay here and guard the sealed land in the forest of EngSubs. The twin ghost emperors, they massacred countless people in the mystic three heavens back then. Who knows what the outcome will be this time? Xiao Yu gazed into the distance, his voice growing solemn. The Silver Thunder Wolf King was now incredibly weak, silently watching the ruler of the forest of EngSubs, the Silver Moon Heavenly Wolf. The Silver Thunder Wolf King knew well the power of this ruler. He also understood that his current form was merely a summoned entity. Without the special methods of the Silver Moon Heavenly Wolf, he would have long since dissipated. This deepened the respect he held for his master. Let's go. The twin ghost emperors are about to break the seal. It's time to end this. I wonder what happened to the Nine-Soul Stele. Oh, and there's that kid Xiao Yan. Your rebirth still depends on him. I wonder if he's claimed the treasures from the soul-suppressing stele yet, Xiao Yu mused. With a slight ripple in space, Xiao Yu vanished, taking the miniature version of the Silver Thunder Wolf King with him. My lord, for some reason, the crystal orbs we used to monitor the points battle have all stopped working. A subordinate, responsible for overseeing the battle, rushed to report to Hu Du. What? Hu Du frowned. The crystal orbs had never malfunctioned before. For them to stop working at this critical time, it seems we won't be able to resolve this immediately. For now, we must deal with the twin ghost emperors. Otherwise, they'll become a huge threat to the forest of EngSubs, Wu Jiang said gravely. And what about the points battle? Hu Du asked, clearly concerned. The issue with the twin ghost emperors hadn't been accounted for during the Mystic Three Heavens meeting. The points battle. Let it continue. There are still 5 days left. I'm curious to see who will make it into the top 100. Wu Jiang snorted coldly. It's strange. Why haven't we seen anyone from the points battle in the first or second layers of the Forest of EngSubs? Hudu wondered aloud. Am I overthinking this? He shook his head, deciding to let it go. Let's go. To the ghost-suppressing well on the 3rd layer. Wu Jiang ordered, leading his group deeper into the forest. Who would have thought the twin ghost emperors would break free of their seal? It seems it was due to the interference of EngSubs at the cold pool. When EngSubs broke the seal and entered the Forest of EngSubs, he attracted Xiao Yan, and together they caused the premature release of the twin ghost emperors. A middle-aged man in red robes remarked thoughtfully. Upon closer inspection, it was clear that this person was the very same one Wu Jiang had sought help from within the Flame Pavilion. Changyu. It's strange, though. I could sense EngSubs' presence near the cold pool seal when we first entered the Forest of EngSubs, but now I can't feel it anymore. Changyu mused. The twin ghost emperors, it's been so long since they've surfaced. I wonder what kind of power they'll attain after breaking free this time. That being said, there seem to be some promising talents in this points battle. That Xiao Yan is a sharp one. His strength and courage are top-notch, and the flames he commands are terrifying. Changyu shook his head. But why do Mu Yingying's flames even make me feel uneasy? With that, Changyu vanished into a black shadow and disappeared from the ghost-suppressing well. In the eerie and dark depths of the 3rd layer of the Forest of EngSubs, a figure in black sat cross-legged. Strangely, this individual was completely enveloped in a terrifying amount of ghostly qi, with only a pair of pitch-black eyes visible. Nether Spring, why are you doing this? A voice came from a woman named Hongyi, who couldn't help but murmur. The figure in black was none other than Nether Spring. After sustaining severe injuries in the ghost-suppressing well, Nether Spring had consumed EngSubs' power. Ghostly creatures in the ghost realm usually couldn't devour one another, but Nether Spring was different. His original body was that of a human, and after collecting strange secret arts for thousands of years, he had developed the ability to absorb EngSubs' strength, a feat that was no surprise. You don't understand. Nether Spring snapped, his voice filled with cold resolve. The most wicked entity within the ghost-suppressing well is none other than EngSubs, one of the twin ghost emperors, and it was he who caused all the pain I've endured. I've fallen into the ghost realm, living in this sunless, sinister place, all for the sake of revenge. This time, I will personally strike down my enemy. Nether Spring calmed himself, but his voice was still filled with hate as he gave a cold laugh. Hongyi couldn't help but feel fear as she looked at Nether Spring. Since devouring EngSubs' power, he had undergone drastic changes, becoming something neither fully human nor fully ghost, utterly terrifying to behold. The dense ghostly qi clinging to him only made him more monstrous. Yet despite her own strength as a 6-star Do D, Hongyi felt powerless in front of Nether Spring. For someone of her level to feel this way, Nether Spring's power had grown terrifyingly strong. Let's go. After this is over, I'll help you resurrect your lover. Nether Spring's raspy voice echoed in Hongye's mind. All right, she whispered, following him without hesitation. I've already made so many mistakes. What's one more? Hongyi murmured to herself. Master Mu Lu. All the humans in the 1st and 2nd layers of the Forest of EngSubs have been captured. A terrifying ghostly figure reported to Mu Lu. And what of the 3rd layer? Mu Lu inquired with a twisted grin. Everything is in order, the figure replied. The 3rd layer had fewer people, but it was the most important. After all, it was where the twin ghost emperors resided. Good, good. Mu Lu laughed, basking in the sense of power and control. The captives would make excellent nourishment for the twin ghost emperors once they broke free from their seal. Xiao Yan, are you in the 3rd layer? Mu Lu sneered. Enjoy your last moments. Once the twin ghost emperors are freed, they'll deal with you personally. Tomorrow, is it the dark moon? In the 3rd layer of the Forest of EngSubs, the phantom ghost spirit, Qi Mei, was hiding, nursing severe wounds. Clearly, he had taken heavy damage from Nether Spring's earlier attack. I can't wait any longer. I'm going in, came Yuru's voice from within the ghost-suppressing well. Wait a little longer. It should be soon. I can feel it, Mu Feng hurriedly reassured her. Just as their conversation ended, they both saw two beams of light, one black and one red, shoot up from behind the sealed gate. Instantly, they knew that Xiao Yan had encountered something dangerous inside. Mu Feng's expression darkened. Look at those lights. The black one is filled with an overwhelming amount of ghostly qi, while the red one contains immense sealing and purification power. The forces behind them are incredibly strong. Xiao Yan must be in danger. I'll go in and check on him. If anything happens, at least I'll be there to help. You stay here, Mu Feng said, turning toward the sealed gate. Yuru, sensing the immense power, remained calm and replied, I'm going with you. You lead, and I'll cover the rear. Let's go. Her beautiful face was set with determination, and Mu Feng, seeing her resolve, found himself unable to argue. He sighed and, with a flash of light, used the same technique from earlier to open the gate. Strange. Why has the power of the seal weakened so much all of a sudden? Mu Feng noticed something was off. Could it be because of the light from before? Let's go, he shouted as a crack appeared in the sealed gate. The two of them shot through the gap like meteors, entering the space beyond. Inside the sealed gate, black river water surged into the air. Their luck was bad. Just as they entered, they were immediately hit by the towering columns of water. The force of the water pillars was so immense that it blasted both of them back, leaving Mu Feng soaked and muttering complaints under his breath. Yuru glanced at him indifferently, pausing for a moment before swiftly leaping forward and re-entering the sealed gate. Seeing this, Mu Feng had no time for further complaints and hurriedly followed after her. Before long, they encountered no further oddities and easily arrived at the space beyond the sealed gate. However, they remained at the edge of the space, separated by a river. From a distance, they could see Xiao Yan. But when Mu Feng saw the woman in white standing next to Xiao Yan, a subtle, unreadable expression flickered in his eyes. This woman's aura. Mu Feng muttered in surprise. Having spent years battling demons and ghosts, Mu Feng was well versed in such entities. From what he could sense, the ghostly qi emanating from this woman was no weaker than that of a ghost emperor. A ghost emperor. In the ghost realm, ghost emperors were incredibly rare, but each one possessed power on par with a 6-star Do-D expert from the human world. What's more, they were in a place where ghostly qi was abundant, their natural battlefield. In a fight, the advantages for ghostly creatures were overwhelming. Mu Feng's expression hardened into a sharp, cold look as he fixed his gaze on the woman in white. Demons and ghosts were abominations that all must eradicate, and this was no ordinary ghost. She had likely taken countless lives in her time. Yuru also noticed the woman in white, a trace of curiosity flashing in her eyes as she looked at Xiao Yan, puzzled. Suddenly, a mysterious green light appeared, turning the entire space a deep azure color. Mu Feng's wooden sword began to tremble in fear. A soft white glow flickered around Xiao Yan, gently shielding him from Mu Feng's azure light. Xiao Yan turned to him and said calmly, Mu Feng, don't be hasty. This young lady may be a soul body, but she hasn't done any harm. Listen to my explanation, and you'll understand. With that, Xiao Yan explained the woman in white's situation, that she was trapped here and not a malevolent spirit. Only then did Mu Feng lower his wooden sword. Seeing that Xiao Yan was unharmed, Yuru visibly relaxed. Mu Feng looked at Xiao Yan and asked, Xiao Yan, from outside, we saw light pillars and water columns shooting up. What happened here? Xiao Yan glanced at Yuru's graceful figure, then briefly explained the events that had just transpired. Don't come any closer. The river water is strange. Xiao Yan began to warn them, but before he could finish, a terrifying shockwave suddenly erupted from the soul-suppressing steel. As the shockwave expanded, it forcefully pushed both Mu Feng and Yuru out of the sealed space. Boom, boom, boom. After Mu Feng and Yuru were ejected, the sealed gate swiftly closed again. What? Yuru didn't even have time to ask questions before everything changed so suddenly. This must be part of the mysterious properties of the sealed land, Mu Feng said, shaking his head. The sealed land has a limit on how many people can enter. If too many are inside, it forcibly expels them. How could I forget that? Mu Feng sighed. Yuru said nothing more. Since Xiao Yan was safe, she felt reassured. She and Mu Feng sat down cross-legged, quietly adjusting their internal energy. Xiao Yan was left bewildered by the sudden turn of events. Don't be upset. That's just the power of the soul-suppressing stele. The Nine-Soul Stele chuckled. The soul-suppressing stele doesn't allow too many people into this sealed space. That's why they were expelled. But don't worry. It's nothing serious, the Nine-Soul Stele explained. I see, Xiao Yan nodded. It made sense that something so secretive as the soul-suppressing stele would have measures to limit how many people could know about it. What you seek lies within this jade stele. Do you think you can find it? The Nine-Soul Stele teased. Without saying much, Xiao Yan walked up to the jade stele, which stood about a meter tall, and quietly studied it. This soul-suppressing jade stele is truly unique. It seems to lock down all soul energy, preventing it from leaving, Xiao Yan murmured softly. No wonder my soul energy was being devoured by this jade stele earlier. And on the outside of the soul-suppressing jade stele, there's an incredibly powerful barrier. Time passed, and as Xiao Yan continued his investigation, he gradually discovered other peculiarities. There's something hidden within this soul-suppressing jade stele. Whatever it is, it has the power to lock down souls, which is why this woman in white is unable to leave. Xiao Yan muttered to himself. Could this be the treasure that Senior Nine-Soul Stele and Xiao Yu were referring to? He wondered aloud. As Xiao Yan spoke, the ancient ruler of heavenly flames on his back trembled slightly. Xiao Yan, the treasure you're looking for? It's right here on the soul-suppressing jade stele, Long Yi suddenly exclaimed. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan's deep brown eyes narrowed as he focused intently on the jade stele before him. A powerful aura emanated from the soul-suppressing jade stele, as if it could devour everything around it. Get a little closer and take a look. With me and the Nine-Soul Stele here, there shouldn't be any problems. The soul of the Golden Dragon King hovered above Xiao Yan, speaking calmly. All right. Xiao Yan responded softly. Activating the flame mantra, a milky white flame instantly enveloped his body, ready to react in case of any sudden changes. Xiao Yan slowly approached, circling the soul-suppressing jade stele a few times before stopping in front of it. Based on his observations, the outer layer of the jade stele seemed to be what was left of the stone stele that had shattered earlier. The stone's purpose was to conceal the true nature of the soul-suppressing jade stele. Despite being only a meter tall, the stele's power was far from insignificant. Suddenly, Xiao Yan extended his right hand, and a flame of 23 colors appeared at the edge of his palm. As his hand moved closer to the jade stele, a jade-colored light flashed and blocked Xiao Yan's attack when he was about a foot away. Xiao Yan wasn't surprised by this reaction. After all, this was the soul-suppressing jade stele, an artifact on par with the seal that imprisoned the twin ghost emperors. Its power could not be underestimated. The entire soul-suppressing jade stele was an emerald green, but it was enveloped in a dense, jade-colored light that circulated continuously, forming a natural barrier that firmly protected the stele. This barrier was also preventing Xiao Yan from advancing further, creating a deadlock between his hand and the jade light. Seeing this, Xiao Yan didn't back down. He locked his gaze on the stele, his aura surging instantly. The flames on his right hand erupted in a bright flash as he stepped forward, forcing the jade light to retreat. However, just as the jade light retreated, it exploded with equal intensity, pushing Xiao Yan back once again. Oh! Xiao Yan withdrew his hand, feeling puzzled. The Golden Dragon King, watching from above, also looked astonished. I didn't expect this jade light to be so mysterious. It grows stronger when faced with strength and weaker when faced with weakness. What a peculiar phenomenon, the Golden Dragon King remarked. He then began an intense discussion with the Nine-Soul Stele, but Xiao Yan didn't have time to pay attention. Standing in front of the soul-suppressing jade stele, Xiao Yan was at a loss, unable to deal with the sudden appearance of the protective jade light. Damn it! What is this thing made of? He muttered, clearly frustrated. Despite using all his strength, every attack on the jade-colored light had been neutralized. Yet Xiao Yan could sense that whatever was inside the soul-suppressing jade steel was certainly something valuable. But if he couldn't break through the jade light, it would slip away right before his eyes. Long Yi, do you know what this thing is? Xiao Yan murmured as he removed the ancient ruler of heavenly flames from his back and asked Long Yi. This thing, it seems to be some sort of restriction, Long Yi concluded after studying it carefully. Xiao Yan rolled his eyes in frustration, preparing to put the ruler away, when suddenly Long Yi's voice rang out again. This looks a lot like a demonic weapon from the ghost realm. Long Yi's gaze fixed on the soul-suppressing jade steel. Though the jade light surrounding the steel was incredibly strong, Xiao Yan could sense that it had a righteous and pure aura. However, the mysterious force at the core of the jade steel was entirely different. It was as dark and sinister as the ghostly chi radiating from the twin ghost emperors that lingered on the woman in white. In fact, it felt even more terrifying than the ghostly chi surrounding her. A demonic weapon? Xiao Yan exclaimed in surprise, clearly hearing about this for the first time. Heh. A demonic weapon is a powerful artifact from the ghost realm, Long Yi explained. As you may already know, the world is divided into 7 realms. Each realm contains immensely powerful weapons and tools, but they are called different names depending on the realm. In the ghost realm, demonic weapons are used by many powerful ghostly beings. These weapons are stained with the blood of countless victims, which is how they earned their ominous title, Long Yi added with a hint of pride. Ordinary people wouldn't know such things, but Long Yi had traveled across the 7 realms in his earlier years, so he was familiar with these items. A demonic weapon, Xiao Yan mused, deep in thought. From what I've observed of this jade light, the reason you can't break through is simply that you're not strong enough. Long Yi remarked again. Strength, huh? Xiao Yan murmured, shaking his head. A terrifying idea suddenly flashed through his mind. Soul power. Spiritual power. These two distinct forces, if they could be fused together, might produce an explosive power for a short time. Xiao Yan's thoughts burned with excitement. It was no surprise that he would think this way. After all, this was the core area of the ghost-suppressing well, where ordinary Douqi was practically useless. Only vast soul power or spiritual energy could make any significant breakthroughs here. Being someone who never hesitates, Xiao Yan immediately prepared himself. He extended both hands slowly, closing his eyes as he focused on drawing out the immense soul power from his soul sea and the spiritual power from his Naiwen palace. Soul power gathered in his right hand, while spiritual power flowed into his left. Gazing at the terrifying forces in his palms, Xiao Yan couldn't help but smile. Boom, boom, boom. Without further delay, Xiao Yan clasped his hands together, directing both forces toward the jade-colored light in front of him. Originally, Xiao Yan had intended to fuse the two forces into one, which would have elevated their power several levels. However, to his shock, he discovered that the vast soul power and spiritual power couldn't merge. The two forces seemed to exist in entirely different dimensions, passing through each other as though they were intangible. There was no way for them to intertwine, let alone fuse. But time was running out. Xiao Yan knew that once the ghostly chi completely enveloped the woman in white, it would signal the arrival of the twin ghost emperors. He couldn't afford to waste any more time, so he immediately clasped his hands together, allowing both forces to intertwine with the jade-colored light surrounding the soul-suppressing jade steel. Bang, bang, bang. As the transparent soul power and spiritual power clashed with the previously impenetrable jade light, it began to slowly melt away, as if dissolving. It's working! Xiao Yan exclaimed in excitement. Seeing the jade light gradually dissipate, he increased the flow of soul power and spiritual energy. Finally, under the continuous onslaught of Xiao Yan's energies, the jade-colored light retreated entirely. With the jade light gone, the soul-suppressing jade steel was fully exposed before Xiao Yan. From the jade steel, Xiao Yan could sense an extremely pure yet sinister and eerie aura, something that clearly defied the natural order. As the jade-colored light vanished, Strange patterns and runes began to flicker in the air around the jade stele. Countless symbols and inscriptions appeared, each one brimming with terrifying purity. With the appearance of these mysterious runes, a towering green light shot into the sky. At the same time, Xiao Yan noticed that the thick, ghostly qi surrounding the woman in white was rapidly retreating, as if it feared the pure aura emanating from the soul-suppressing jade stele. However, Xiao Yan didn't pay much attention to the mysterious runes around the jade stele, dismissing them as mere illusions. Instead, he focused on his left hand. Swoosh, swoosh. Through his heightened soul perception, Xiao Yan detected that after the soul-suppressing jade stele released its radiant light and manifested the mysterious runes, its glow began to dim. Suddenly, a streak of light shot toward the center of his left palm. As soon as the streak of light entered his palm, Xiao Yan's body shuddered as if he had been struck by lightning. Inside his body, as the light flowed into his palm, Xiao Yan's vast soul power began to surge violently, as if sensing a deadly threat. Stop! Xiao Yan roared in anger, knowing that his soul power was vital to his survival. He had to handle it with utmost care. With all his strength, Xiao Yan suppressed the raging soul power until it eventually calmed down. However, deep within his body, in a place called Na Jing, a tiny flame seed seemed to be slowly awakening, exuding an incredibly terrifying power. But after Xiao Yan subdued the turbulent soul power, the flame seed returned to its dormant state, vanishing as quickly as it had appeared. Huff, huff. Xiao Yan gasped in shock, clearly startled by the sudden turn of events. If it weren't for his combined soul and spiritual powers, he would have been completely overwhelmed by the violent surge of energy. It was evident that the earlier disturbance had been caused by that streak of light. Now that everything had calmed down, Xiao Yan wiped the sweat from his brow and regained his composure. Looking back at the soul-suppressing jade stele, Xiao Yan noticed that it had lost all its former power and now appeared dull and gray, as lifeless as an ordinary stone. Damn it! Where did the treasure in the soul-suppressing jade stele go? Xiao Yan realized that the stele had become completely inert, no different from a regular rock. But where had the treasure within it disappeared to? My palm. Xiao Yan suddenly remembered. Lifting his hand, Xiao Yan saw that a mysterious pattern had appeared in the previously pale skin of his left palm. What is this? Xiao Yan examined the strange symbol curiously. In his hand was an intricate rune, depicting a small jade talisman about an inch long. On it, two ancient characters were clearly inscribed: Soul Devouring. The moment the rune appeared, Xiao Yan noticed that the ghostly qi in the surrounding space scattered as if in fear, clearly terrified of the rune in his palm. The jade talisman in Xiao Yan's palm gleamed with an emerald green light, as if it had been etched into his skin, vivid and lifelike. This is the soul-devouring talisman. A voice rang out above Xiao Yan's head. His master, the Golden Dragon King, sounded shocked. After the Golden Dragon King spoke, he descended from beside the Nine-Soul Stele and approached Xiao Yan, fixing his gaze intently on the mysterious emerald green rune embedded in Xiao Yan's palm. Master, what is this? Xiao Yan asked, puzzled. The only thing he could feel was the terrifying aura radiating from the deep green rune, now etched into his palm. The aura was eerie and sinister, its nature identical to ghostly qi, something that shocked Xiao Yan the most. He was well aware of the terrifying power of ghostly qi, and one wrong move could spell disaster. Don't worry, this rune is actually a treasure, the Golden Dragon King said with a smile, looking at the rune in Xiao Yan's palm. If I'm not mistaken, the rune you're holding is none other than one of the Ghost Realm's ghostly weapons, the soul-devouring talisman. The Golden Dragon King's deep voice echoed through the space. That's right, it is indeed the soul-devouring talisman, the voice of the Nine-Soul Stele confirmed. Who would have thought we'd encounter it here? Xiao Yan, it seems you were destined to obtain this, the Golden Dragon King remarked. Since the soul-suppressing jade stele chose you, I won't interfere further, the Nine-Soul Stele said, shaking its head. The rest is up to you now. I have to focus on handling the twin ghost emperors. With that, the Nine-Soul Stele shifted its attention to the woman in white, who was still enveloped by thick, ghostly qi in midair. "All right," the Golden Dragon King replied softly before slowly descending to Xiao Yan's side. "A ghostly weapon? The soul-devouring talisman?" Xiao Yan's pupils contracted tightly, clearly perplexed by these unfamiliar terms. "Don't worry," the Golden Dragon King said with a gentle laugh. "Now that the soul-devouring talisman has been claimed by you, let me explain it to you slowly. In the ghost realm, most ghostly beings are infused with ghostly qi. This qi is eerie and sinister by nature, which is why we call the powerful weapons and artifacts of the ghost realm demonic weapons. There are 12 demonic weapons in the ghost realm, each one containing immense power. Their reputation is well known, even in our human world. And the rune in your hand, this is the infamous soul-devouring talisman, one of those 12 demonic weapons," the Golden Dragon King explained calmly. Xiao Yan pondered this carefully. Clearly, the 12 demonic weapons of the ghost realm must be extremely powerful. However, instead of feeling excitement, Xiao Yan was filled with deep concern. The terrifying power of the rune in his palm was unmistakable. It felt identical to ghostly qi. Would prolonged use of this demonic weapon cause his mind to be tainted by its malevolent influence? "Don't worry about that," the Golden Dragon King reassured him, clearly sensing Xiao Yan's inner doubts. Although the soul-devouring talisman is a demonic weapon from the ghost realm and possesses an extremely terrifying amount of ghostly qi, it won't affect you in the slightest. "Really?" Xiao Yan asked, surprised. After all, he could clearly feel the terrifying ghostly qi emanating from the rune in his palm, and his current abilities weren't sufficient to handle such power. "It's because you possess both soul power and spiritual energy," the Golden Dragon King explained. "Even more importantly, the unique heavenly flame within your body has a strong restraining effect on ghostly qi. You probably didn't notice, but when the soul-devouring talisman first entered your palm, it tried to flood into your body and devour you. But it was fiercely repelled by your heavenly flame," the Golden Dragon King said with a laugh. Hearing this, Xiao Yan suddenly realized what had happened. The violent surge of soul power earlier, when the beam of light from the soul-suppressing jade steel attacked him, was due to this very reason. The soul-devouring talisman may only rank 11th among the 12 demonic weapons of the ghost realm, but its power is still extraordinary. Its primary ability is to devour all soul entities. In other words, the soul-devouring talisman is the ultimate bane of any soul-based being, the Golden Dragon King added with a smile.